Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's Comics from the Future. I'm Jason,
I'm Andy.
and we're with Infinity Flux Comics out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. Unfortunately, Megan cannot join us this week. We just have a lot going on. She's in the other space
Oh yeah, I
dealing with
thought.
other
Oh
comics.
yeah, there isn't anybody there.
That's right. A little more elbow room. She'll be back with us next week. So, what is this show? This is the show where we go over comics that are still open order. So they drop all the comics you can order on a Friday, and they give us DC gives us till Sunday to place our orders. All the other companies give us till Monday. A lot of the covers you'll be seeing, this is the first time you can see them. We gather them to the last minute,
Mhm.
and we just talk about what the books are, a rundown of what they're about, why you might be interested in them, to try to help you figure out what to tell your store to order now. You don't want to wait past this date
Mhm.
because if you wait, the orders are already in and you might miss out.
Right.
So that's what Comics from the Future are all about. The comics that are literally from the future. I believe these ones drop on July 16th and 17th.
Yes.
But orders are due by Sunday and Monday.
Mhm.
So, without further ado, let's begin.
Up first is Aliens Aftermath #1. It's another one where they like to put the #1 on there, but it's actually just a one shot. But this is celebrating Aliens' 35th anniversary. Not Alien, but Aliens.
Okay,
The
second movie.
sequel.
The more action.
Yeah,
packed
yeah,
one.
the Space Marine one.
Yeah.
So this is really cool. This is actually, a lot of times we get the like it's celebrating an anniversary, but it's like a whole new thing. This is actually going back and exploring some stuff, some unanswered questions from Aliens. So we know the beginning of Aliens. We have the Hadley's Hope base that becomes the focal point of the alien attack
Right.
in the beginning of Aliens. That's where Newt is from.
Mm.
But we don't know too much about what caused this outbreak, what caused the xenomorphs attack, all of that. So this is going to follow some journalists 35 years in the future that go to this planet to try to figure out the truth behind the story and the truth behind the incident that happened there. And of course, this is not going to go well. It says that they will find the truth out even if it kills them. And I feel like that's going to be true for some of them involved. So this sounds really cool. This is going to be written by Benjamin Percy, and art is by Dave Wachter, Wachter. And the cover really has me intrigued. Like, what is this luminescent
I know, yeah,
alien?
it's like radioactive. It's like a Geiger alien.
Yeah, so what I think is interesting is one of the early concept designs for the alien actually had them being kind of a off-white, more transparent look to them. And I'm wondering if they're almost going to dip back into that original design to make it canon and bring it into the...
Sounds like it almost like a glowing jellyfish.
Yeah, it's when you get you have the regular figure, then you get the glow in the dark version.
It's just a little hard for them to hide when they glow.
I know, but it's
So I think
also
that's
a
why
lot
they did away with
scarier.
it.
Like you're in the air ducts, and you look behind you at the corner, and this glow is like creeping up on you. I mean, you can make bright things scary too.
What if they can sense when they're being watched and they glow the more they're not being watched? So
Oh,
you're
yeah.
never seeing it until it's too late.
Yeah, so I think this sounds really cool. This is going to be like a double-sized one-shot, but also you don't have to be reading the current Alien series to get it. I mean, it's funny that the early current Alien series is called Alien. This one is called Aliens.
Right.
So this is
Good
new
distinction.
reader friendly. You can jump right on board if you're a big fan of the movies, the franchise. I think this is going to be a really cool one. There's a really cool variant cover as well.
Ooh.
By one of our favorites on the show, Ron Lim.
Wow. Oh, that's a Ron Lim cover?
Yep, that's what it says. It's very different for him. It strikes me as like a VEREGGE
I know,
cover.
yeah, with the line work being sort of thick like that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's what it said. I could be horribly mistaken if it was mislabeled, but that's what it says. But either way, really, really
That's
cool.
a good one. And once again,
variant.
like you said, the color of the alien is
Yeah, it's not a fluke on the other cover. It looks
Right.
like the alien in this is going to be that white glowing.
Okay, also from Marvel is Extreme Carnage Scream. This is a one shot for this new Carnage event that they're doing through a series of one shots
Mhm.
that go with all the symbiotes that were linked to that one foundation, the Life Foundation.
Yeah.
So this one follows, of course, Scream, who is now Andy Benton. So Andy Benton got fused with Scream way back months ago. She was Scream in Absolute Carnage. She was Scream all throughout King in Black. But now there is some unseen force that harbors a lot of danger towards the symbiote. So typically the symbiote's saving the person.
Yeah.
This time Andy Benton has to save it. So what I'm interested in this is now that King in Black is over, Eddie Brock now has sort of the null powers.
Yeah.
He's sort of the guy of the symbiotes. So I just wonder how this is going to figure him with that. You know, like
Yeah.
in fact, how does Eddie Brock and his power figure him with Carnage? If he's doing all this good, can he not control Carnage? Are these symbiotes because they're from the Life Foundation? Are they more like Carnage and they're outside?
They're more
of
like
his...
synthetic symbiotes or
right?
something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So I'm not sure how that works, but I'm interested. And if there's an unseen force that's affecting them in a negative way, could it be Eddie Brock?
Mm-hmm.
Or could it be the Maker?
Mm-hmm.
That was brought up in this week's issue of Venom 200.
Yep.
That the Maker is still this big threat. So I'm interested to see where they go with this. They haven't said a lot as far as is Carnage the villain of this, or is he just sort of part of this?
I was about to say, for something that's called Extreme Carnage, it seems equal with all the symbiotes across it.
Yeah.
We've seen some of the covers that have all of the different versions, and we're getting these one shots and everything.
And I don't think it's just going to be Carnage attacking them and that's it, because Absolute Carnage was that.
Yeah.
He was killing anyone with it to release the codex. I think this time it's going to be something different, and I'm interested to see which way it goes.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting. Like, what if they have to work with Carnage? Like, how does that happen?
Yeah, I have no idea.
And you've got people in there like we've seen on the cover, Flash Thompson as Anti-Venom, who is in a pretty good headspace compared with Carnage. Like, are they gonna have to like rope him into this somehow or whatever?
I forgot about that. In fact, he could possibly be the person going after.
Yeah, so I think this is really exciting. I'm glad that even though Venom is ending, the Donny Cates Ryan Stegman one, that seems like they found a way to pivot the symbiote story in a way that doesn't. They're not just. We know there is a new Venom #1 coming out, but it's not like 200 ends and they start right. It's like, no, let's explore this world now that has changed.
And Carnage took a big backseat in King in Black.
Yeah.
He kind of got, beat down and knocked out of the way, so it's cool to be able to follow
Yeah,
him.
yeah, I think they're handling these symbiotes really well.
So just remember to ask your store if you want this, because once again, this is the one shot. I think this event is going to confuse a lot of stores that aren't as in the know and don't read everything like we do. I don't know if they're going to order as much, realizing that people, a lot of times when they do these series of one shots that link around the third or fourth, people start really getting into them, and then they're out of all the other ones. So I would order it now, get your copy on order, and then we got a couple variants. Here is the Johnson connecting variant.
They're loving these trading card connecting variants now.
And here is the Scotty Young variant, with Scream riding her own hair.
I was about to say, if Medusa for the Inhumans got a symbiote, I think it would just be this.
I like that she surfs on her hair the way the Iceman used to surf on his ice.
So next up, we have another big spider event. This is a big week for those characters. This is Sinister War. This is going to be a 4-part event. And it is spilling out of Amazing Spider-Man, the stuff that's been going on there after this kind of a King's Ransom event with Kingpin and all that. But also, I feel like this is going to be a good jumping on point because we haven't seen the Sinister Six in a while.
No.
It's not a spoiler to say a book called Sinister War is going to involve the Sinister Six, but what's really interesting about this is in the backups of Amazing Spider-Man. There's been like 1 or 2 pages in each one about Doc Ock and kind of what he's been up to, and he's been meeting with some other villains, and he's putting together his version of the Sinister Six. But on the other side, Vulture is creating his thing that he is calling the Savage Six. And if you know how villains are, they don't play well together. They don't like when there's other groups out there. So this brings on the Sinister War, where the two Sinister teams are the Sinister and the Savage. But they're both really hung up on this 6 number. They're like no more, no less.
It's like if you add a 7th, you might win.
You might
have
win
a whole other character.
But it goes against the Spider-Man villain code.
Yes.
So what it looks like, from what we can tell, we're going to have Doc Ock's team, which is going to be Doc Ock, Lizard, Hydro Man, Sandman, and Kraven. And we know at this point that the current Kraven is actually the son of the original Kraven, who is a much more savage version of Kraven, versus Vulture with his team that's Vulture, Rhino, Tarantula, Scorpion, Cobra, and Stegron, who is a fun character that was in the earlier part of Nick Spencer's run. But of course, when you got these two teams, what can they all agree on? They all hate Spider-Man. So caught in the middle is going to be Spider-Man, and we're going to see how he's probably going to try to play mitigator, or how is he going to stop both sides, or is he going to step back and let them take each other out and he clean up afterwards? We don't know. But these are going to be, this is going to be a really cool event, I think, to see these two teams of villains going at it.
And this is a 4-parter.
4-parter. This is by Nick Spencer, and art is by Mark Bagley. And the A cover here is by BRYAN HITCH. So then we have the Bagley connecting variant, which when you have all these characters involved, you can imagine you're going to have them all on these covers.
You got to picture not just that cover, but 4 of them
4 of them.
Connect across.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then we have the Bagley wraparound, which we have the front here and also the back. So you're gonna either have to search this somewhere else or pause it to really dig into who's all on this cover, because there's more than the ones I listed there. You even see right there, Hobgoblin is on the cover. So this might be turned into an all-out every villain for themselves fight.
This wraparound impresses me a lot, but I have to say Mark Bagley, he's probably just like, I've drawn these characters so many times.
This is autopilot for him. I mean, one of the longest running on any Spider-Man title with his run on Ultimate Spider-Man. So yeah, he's drawn all these characters many times. Mm-hmm. Then we have the Frank variant. We have, of course, really cool. They've been doing the handbook variants, which I'm wondering, are they going to be doing them for each of the members of these teams, or what they're going to do? But it's going to be cool when you get all these and you can read all the bios and everything.
Yeah, because previously, it's not out yet, but we had on Comics from the Future the one with Doc Ock on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then, of course...
Speaking of the man himself, never looked more angry and silly.
We have the Todd Knock headshot variant, which... Some of these work, some of them don't, but this one is so goofy it works. Like, I want this as like a mad ball. Like, just like a squishy mad ball, I think would work great.
Oh, my Lord.
Then we have the new variant, which is a really, really nice cover.
Mm-hmm.
We have, of course, the VEREGGE.
I like that.
Yeah, even his octopus arms have their extension arms on.
Yeah.
Then we have the VICENTINI variant, which you see the other leader of now the Savage Six, Vulture. Really cool. I think it's going to be a good event.
All right. So from DC, we have Infinite Frontier #2. This is the A cover by Mitch Gerard. So Infinite Frontier is sort of the big overall DC book. Joshua Williamson has taken over, and it's supposed to tell the tale of, they've learned that the multiverse is no more. It is actually expanded into the omniverse. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how far they're going to take this Omniverse. Like, I feel like they're going to say Scooby-Doo's world is in it,
Yeah.
and I say that in a non-silly way. Like, I really think
We do know that there's been teased a book that's not necessarily called Elseworlds, but it's going to be like, hey, that version of that weird Batman that's a cowboy, or that Superman that's also a Green Lantern, those are all in continuity. They do exist out there.
Yeah, when they first announced the Omniverse, I gave a lot of thought as to what that meant, and I can tell the writers talked a lot about it.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like they've just taken the playground and expanded it, and I can't wait to see what they do with it. So now that the Omniverse has been revealed, it is up to Director Bones. That's
I
his
love
name.
they're using him.
Yeah, Director Bones. I know. Yeah, he's a character. I didn't see a lot of, and he's an old Batman character too. I came across his first appearance the other day. But it is up to him to lead this new organization to look into the Omniverse, and also just to keep any problems with it at bay and just keep tabs on it. So that's part of what this book's going to be about. I think it's going to be sort of big revelations that, in fact, they've already said in interviews, like Joshua Williamson, this is sort of after Death Metal, this is the next thing that's taking the DC Universe further into sort of its overall stories. On top of that, there's going to be a story in it where Alan Scott is looking for his daughter Jade, who has been missing. And it says that he's going to stop at nothing to find her. He's going to be angry, Alan Scott.
Yes.
So he already isn't afraid of stuff. Now he's angry. And then the last thing, if you read the first Infinite Frontier, one of the most surprising parts is that Roy Harper has been brought back to life.
Yeah, we saw him briefly at the end of number 0.
And in a lot of interviews leading up to this, I've read writer interviews, they're saying Roy Harper is going to be a very big deal. And in this one, they're saying that he's not just back, but he has some new powers. So whereas before, he wasn't really a powers guy. Now he has new powers. I don't know what those are, but it's all in Infinite Frontier number 2. I think one of the bigger books from DC this week. That's still orderable.
And I believe that this also on the cover is it Director Chase, I believe is her name?
Correct.
And listen to an interview with Joshua Williamson. It's very interesting where he's like, at this point, they've been through so many crisis events that they're like, the whole thing is like, how do we stop this? Like, anytime we try to do anything, make any forward momentum, some cosmic being shows up and resets things. Like, we need to get ahead of this. And I feel like that's going to be a lot of this too, is like, this is the event book about stopping event books. And I think that's a really cool idea that they finally realize what's been going on. And now how do we like grapple with this fact?
And Chase is working under Director Bones. This issue also proposes, is she really working under him, or is he setting her up as some sort of a patsy for when things go wrong?
He's just like, that was her the whole time.
So already within the organization, but...
Sounds like a solid organization.
Yes. And then there is the variant cover by BRYAN HITCH.
Looks like that's going to be a connecting or something. It's got a little red over on the side, like maybe a Superman or somebody. And Bones is so funny in that. This is really cool. So this is Joker number 5. And I feel like with this book, initially it's like, how long can you tell this story? But the stuff they're doing is like, of course we want this story. And I think this is one of the coolest so far. So this is the never before seen Joker's first night in Arkham Asylum.
Wow.
So this is going to be a flashback story. Not sure how the framing mechanism of it's going to be. Is this going to be, Gordon recounting this, or how it plays into the overall story? But so in this is, of course, they're going to be younger, and Joker has poisoned Gotham City's reservoir, which is funny because it almost feels like, oh, that's his old tricks. Like yes, it's harmful, but not as like destructive that he eventually becomes. This is like almost Batman the Animated Series kind of scheme. But when he's brought into Arkham, Commissioner Gordon, because this is back when he was commissioner, can tell there's something different about this inmate, something not right with it. And I think this is funny because, this whole story's been about Joker and Gordon and their weird connection that, the Joker's affected Gordon's life so much. Gordon has locked Joker up so many times that they do have this connection, not a good one, but a thing that has been there. And how did that start? And what was Gordon's first impressions of Joker? And what does Joker do his first night in Arkham? Is he already planning, like, here's how I'm going to take this place down? There's a lot going on when you think of the story. And this is a story I never even considered what was his first time there.
Right.
But, with the way James Tynion writes this, I feel like this is going to be really big. Because who knows what even Joker, when he's there the first time, plants there. Or, there's got to be a moment where he's walking by and he's looking at the locks, or he's taking everything in for Joker. Because he's broken out so many times, it's almost like he owns the place at this point.
There are so many Joker fans out there. I almost feel like, as far as Batman fans, it's almost a 1-to-1 on how excited people are about the character Batman versus character Joker. So the idea of seeing Joker's first night in Arkham, I mean, that's
almost like a Batman year one type thing. It's like a Joker. What's his year
crazy one?
Yeah,
crazy year one.
So I think this is going to be huge. I think this may be one of the biggest issues out of the series, and maybe it's a standalone story or whatever, but it's a story that I feel like is going to excite a lot of people. So very excited for this.
I also wonder if we're going to see a certain Ms. Harley Quinzel in it.
That's true. Like, she was, the way the continuity works, the way they've talked about it, one of the first people to interview him.
Correct.
So yeah, we definitely may see some early Dr. Harleen Quinzel in this. Then, of course, this does have the backup story with Punchline, and this is going to be Sweeney Boo. The artist is going to be taking over artist duties on this. And the way they've been doing it, we have the A cover with Joker and the B cover with Punchline. And this is a beautiful KAARE Andrews cover.
Look at the attitude on her is great.
Yeah, that's a character you don't want to be
holding up the cuffs in defiance.
Yeah, you don't want to be locked up with her.
Sneering. I mean, that's a perfect sneer.
And then I think this is incredible. I even love how it says the commissioner and the clown, like that's a classic movie or detective novel. This is, of course, by Sean Phillips. Cohort of Ed Brubaker and all of their criminal activity. So really cool, kind of classic movie poster look.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I want to see Sean Phillips do this treatment on a bunch of books. Like, what would this be like as a classic movie or something?
I mean, Commissioner, he is running, and it appears like it's dark, so it's like moonlight. So it's almost like the Joker's face is like the moon running
through like a back alley.
Like how can you get away from it?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so Canto is having his third series, the Clockwork Knight. He has gained a weapon that is possibly powerful enough to let him finally go up against the Shrouded Man, who has been the major villain from the beginning. But the question is, will he be able to wield it? Will he be able to actually defeat the Shrouded Man? And of course, at the same time, the Shrouded Man is one step ahead, trying to do some stuff to make it where Canto is not going to be able to win. So this is a new, how many, 6-part series. So I think they've all been 6-part series. Canto's been just fantastically popular.
Defying all the odds of kind of these mini-series. I mean, the popularity for Canto has stayed up. I can't wait till they release like a Canto omnibus or something. Because they're getting there where they could do a really nice deluxe edition of this. Because every one of these, people are so excited when the new #1 comes out.
It's a fun story, really good art, just great characters and good writing as well. So we thought we would feature this week.
Yeah, because also it's one of those things, if you've been getting Canto, your store may not automatically sign you up for Canto 3. You may need to remind them, hey, I was getting 2, can I get on 3?
Yeah, and the subtitle of this one is Lionhearted. It's a little hard to read in the picture, so I thought I'd let everybody know.
Next up is a new ongoing series from Aftershock. This is by the excellent Ed Brisson, who I'm a big fan of because he worked on that Avengers No Road Home or No Surrender and all those that brought Conan in there. He's been a really solid writer.
This week, he was the writer of Weapon X and Final Flight, which I said was it was one of my favorite reads of the week. It was even better than Heroes Reborn 7.
Yeah, I think he's a fantastic writer. Seek out some of the stuff he's worked on because really, really solid stuff. So this is interesting. So it's a new ongoing from Aftershock. And it is a classic fantasy with a touch of sci-fi, which we've seen stuff like that before. But this one, the solicitation was really interesting about a girl named Vanessa who is taking a kind of a much-needed vacation road trip. But when she gets to California, there is a strange anomaly in the sky, and suddenly California is turned into this nightmare monster world. So that's all it really says about it, but being an ongoing, there's a big story there. I think this is going to be really cool new indie series by a really, really great writer. And I'm interested to see, I love new monster books and what kind of stuff they're going to bring in there.
It looks like she has to protect a kid based on the cover. So maybe she meets a kid. But what is that creature next to them? That's what I'm wondering.
Maybe one of them's a little friendly guy.
It kind of looks like a koala, but I don't think that's what it is.
Kind of looks like, from right here, it's almost like Snarf from Thundercats or something.
It definitely looks friendly. They're all in that same light with all the danger behind them. So, very cool. Okay, so Barbarella has a new series starting. I don't think Barbarella has had her own comic in several years. So Dynamite is launching a new series with a new #1, new creative team. This is the Perio A cover to this. I thought the covers looked really good on this, so I thought people would like to know. She's going to be doing her thing in space, exploring worlds, all that sort of thing. So
all the classic Barbarella, crazy, over-the-top sci-fi.
Yep. So just wanted to show you a few of the covers to this. So here is the B cover by Derek Chu. I saw this cover and I was like, yeah, we got to get this on Comics from the Future.
Yeah.
So Chu, I really like his stuff. When it works really, really well. And then we also have the Brian Boland cover.
Yes.
He's not somebody who does Dynamite covers.
No, this is really interesting they got him because also, he doesn't have to do a cover unless he wants to do a cover now. He's such a big name that it's really interesting that he's doing one for this. And I love that weird alien.
The weird alien is great.
It's like a crab cockroach, googly-eyed thing. I love that.
I always like the way Brian Boland does hair, too. He likes his hair wavy.
Yeah.
Sort of like spaghetti, but not all like clumped up. And then here is the D cover by the artist's last name is Danny. So, new Barbarella series from Dynamite. I wonder if she's going to join all the other Dynamite characters. They've been having crossovers together, now that they're getting her back out there.
She's going to have to face off against the zombies at some point, probably.
That's right, in Dynamite, yeah.
So this one was one of the craziest solicitations I read for a book. This is Savage Hearts #1. It's a 5-part miniseries from Dark Horse. And it is described as a jungle fantasy rom-com. But it is about this girl on the cover who is a barbarian, and the guy at the top who is a beast man who can talk to dinosaurs, as they team up to fight an evil sorceress, or evil sorcerer, not sure, but along the way with hijinks and rom-com elements in it. So
rom-com in the jungle.
that also sounds like a title of a book, rom-com in the jungle. But it's interesting. It's a genre. Rom-com does not happen too often in comics, especially American comics, that I think this could be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So this is a part of the show we're going to go over other number ones. We don't feature them as heavily, so we talk a little less about them. But they're still. We want you to know about any number one that's
Yeah.
coming out. That's at all noteworthy. So this is Man Eaters: The Cursed number one. This is going to be a 5-part series. This is from the original team that did the past Man Eaters books. You probably remember some of the covers. They were hard to miss.
Mm-hmm.
The cover designer, her background was in magazines.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. She brought a lot of those sensibilities to the comic covers that I thought worked really well. So in this, it's set years after the original series. The character Maud from the original series, who was pretty young back then, she is now 15 years old, so a bit older, and she's at craft camp. So I've never gone to craft camp. I imagine it's a camp where you learn how to do different crafting, and apparently things go very badly. That's what the solicitation says. Things go awry. This book is, in the past, it has been very provocative, and just very subversive.
Yeah.
That'd be the way I would say it.
Also very kind of experimental.
Yes.
With the way that they tell stories. Some issues will have like weird ads and like magazine articles for in-world stuff. And I even saw some preview pages of this, and there's one of those parts where it's like an ad for the camp or something like that that has real pictures and everything. So it's a very interesting constructed book.
Oh, and this, of course, is set in the world where girls turn into monsters that could possibly attack guys.
Yeah. As the title Man Eater suggests.
Yeah. So I forgot about the old premise of it. The art of these book is like the main thing that stands out to me. So there's also this variant cover, which is by the same artist who did the A cover, Meternic. I'm sorry, don't know how to pronounce the name, but awesome cover artist. Definitely give you the feelings of Silence of the Lambs. This is what we need Megan for. She's the best at pronouncing names.
We just look at her and she just rolls right out.
Yeah. So she uses that master's degree she has in English to know how to pronounce everything so well.
Next up is one I'm a big fan of. This is Mouse Guard. This one is called Mouse Guard Owlhen Caregiver number 1. This is a one-shot in the Mouse Guard universe, which is, if you've never read it, it is such a fantastical series that the reason this is a weird shape is the books are square. They're a different format by David Peterson, who, I mean, this is his art. This is what the interior art looks like. He's a fantastic artist. He's done some really cool covers for Ninja Turtles as well. But these are kind of a fantasy stories where the main characters are mice and owls and all the woodland critters, but in kind of a medieval setting, but very expansive world. I mean, he's done a bunch of these series, but this is a one-shot that's going to have 3 short stories in it. So I think it's going to be a really good, if you've never read any Mouse Guard, a really good one to check out that follows 3 different characters. But really, really cool. I'm really excited about this one because it's been a while since we've had a Mouse Guard.
I'm surprised the Mouse Guard hasn't got an option for anything.
I know it's been
it
talked
screams
about.
Animated show to me.
Yeah.
With the way that the art. I mean, if they just follow his art at all,
yeah,
it's going to stand out.
Yeah, I know it's been talked about a lot for any number of shows or movies or whatever, because there's a deep kind of lore to this world and everything that's really cool.
All right, next up we have a new Sumerian series. They keep doing these Sumerian sort of mini series.
Yeah, sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're 2 issues long. Sometimes they're 4. Yep. Whatever the story dictates.
So this one, it has not said how many issues it's going to be. I couldn't find the solicitation, but this is the Sumerian, the Man-Eaters of Zamboula. And
it's a fun one.
So yeah, in this one, the Sumerian comes across a place, sort of Amazonia type women there, and some of them eat men, but not all of them are that way. And so he has to go up against a bunch of like literal man-eaters. Now, what are the odds that on this one show we have 2 different books that have the words man-eater in them? That is just a huge coincidence.
Yeah.
I should go out and buy a lottery ticket and hope that somehow this is good fortune.
And watch
I think
whatever
it's just
meat you eat
strange
this week.
fortune. Yeah, there you go.
And if people aren't aware, this is Conan, but done by I believe Ablaze
Yeah,
Comics.
it's Ablaze.
So Marvel has the rights to use the name Conan on covers, but in the book he's called Conan.
They do, yep, which is interesting. They just can't
Yeah.
say it on the cover, and it tends to be a little darker. And
yeah, it's more in line with the original,
right?
Robert E. Howard short stories and stuff with over the top everything.
Mm-hmm. So
next up is a new Rick and Morty one shot. This is a week of one shots. Rick and Morty presents Hotel Immortal. So I think Rick and Morty works really well in these one shot formats because it's kind of how the episodes are, kind of one and done stories. And this one is a murder mystery in this hotel in the style of an Agatha Christie novel. So you can only imagine what crazy nonsense will happen in this one. But a lot of people really like the Rick and Morty comics. They do a really good job at capturing the voice and the spirit of the show. So definitely want to check this one out. And if you're subscribed to any other Rick and Morty comics, just make sure to let your store know that this is a one shot. So you'll have to kind of special request this one.
And this Sunday, the 5th season of Rick and Morty releases. So it's good to have some Rick and Morty to put on the shelves.
Yes.
So you watch that first episode, you want some more, you go to your comic shop, and there it is.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to hear the character voices when you read these.
Yeah.
So easy if you're familiar with the show. So next up, we have Horizon Zero Dawn Liberation #1, the new series that follows the video game characters. Of course, this is a Peach Momoko cover. I played the video game a good bit. Excellent game. I can see why they're doing comics on it. I mean, it's just a very large, expansive game that everybody liked. They got great reviews. In fact, the new one, what's the new game called? It's called what is it? Forbidden West. Horizon Zero Dawn Forbidden West. The new game is coming out later this year.
Yeah,
I looked into that.
I feel like this is preparing people for that, maybe introducing some new elements that are going to be in that.
Yeah, and the last mini-series they did for Horizon Zero Dawn actually sold really, really well. So if you want this, you might want to let your store know, because often they do not order a lot of video game comics. But, you know, while you wait for Forbidden West to come out, you can join Alloy and Aaron on adventures in this comic with a great cover by Peach Momoko.
Next up is... Valiant is relaunching Ninjak, or Ninja K as some people call it. I always heard Ninjak, but who knows. But this is one of the most popular, I would say. You've got Bloodshot, and I would say Ninjak is up there with their most popular characters.
Oh, yeah.
I believe Joe Quesada was it's the original artist on the original, who went on to run Marvel.
Yep.
But really cool. The art in this is very different by Javier Pulido. It looks like they're definitely trying to expand kind of how the universe looks and feels in this. But also, we know that the next Valiant movie they're talking about is going to be Shadow Man. But I've definitely heard Ninjak up there as one of the next one, which is, I mean... It feels like every kid's dream job, which is a ninja super spy. So, really cool. Ninjak has always been fun. All the series have been just crazy ninja action. So, there is a bunch of covers for this one. A whole lot of covers. We're not featuring them here, but you can find them on Previews World.
Yep. So, this one is an all-ages comic called Stanley the Snowman from Scout Comics. It is about a grandfather who teaches his granddaughter this secret magic to make a snowman come to life. They say it's a Christmas in July.
You put the hat on his head. I know the song.
And, well, so that is the premise of this, and it says that, of course, when she goes to do it, not everything goes to plan. But, I mean, I haven't seen the interiors, but this just looks like such a...
Charming.
Yeah,
Very
just...
charming.
I can't see anything going that bad with this. Like, what happens is they spill a little hot cocoa on him and melt him a little.
Yeah.
But anyway, so this is, probably a comic if you just want to some Christmas spirit.
Yeah, I think they even said
summer.
Christmas in July
Yeah.
with this one.
Yeah.
Next up, this one is really cool. I had no idea about this one until I was reading up on it. This is We Don't Kill Spiders, #1. And this one is a concept I have not heard. It is in the Viking Age, and there is a Viking detective. And this Viking detective is investigating a series of murders in a small hamlet that leads him down the path of, interrogating witches and kind of all the classic detective tropes along with the Viking world. So you can imagine there's going to be a lot of axes, maybe, or maybe the murder weapon instead of a knife or a candlestick is going to be, a long bow and an axe or something. And it sounds like he teams up with maybe kind of a forest witch type thing. So really interesting, and I'm not sure what the title. It didn't say what the title is referencing, but I'm sure once you read it, it'll all become clear.
Yeah, well, one thing spiders are known for, and the only time people have told me in my life, and I've repeated this, to not kill the ones that are poisonous, is they kill all the other insects. So that's what's good about them. So maybe it has to do with the witch being like, she's a good witch.
Yeah.
Don't kill her. She kills the bad witches.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I'll tell you, this has a great elevator pitch. If somebody came up to me and they said, I'm writing a comic, we don't kill spiders. And I'm like, what's the elevator pitch? Viking detective. I'd be like, yep.
Yep. Yeah, you already got me intrigued.
Got me. Viking detective. All right, so next up, War of the Bounty Hunters #2 is coming out. Need I even tell you to order it or get it? I do want to show off the cool Camuncoli variant here. So they're doing different headshots.
Yeah.
It's not Todd NAUCK doing them. This is Camuncoli doing it. Your Boba Fett headshot with one of his back missiles.
Yeah.
Also there. And there is the John Tyler Christopher action figure variant as well.
With some Bosk.
Mm-hmm.
Next up is the headshot variant, the Camuncoli headshot variant for Dr. Aphra #12, which is still part of the War of the Bounty Hunters series. Which, I mean, even people I know who don't normally read Star Wars comics have picked this up. Because it doesn't matter what level Star Wars fan you are, Boba Fett is cool.
Yeah.
And bounty hunters are cool. So, I think this is going to be a really hot, especially now that they're doing these headshot variants.
I have one thing to add I forgot about. So these are coming out the same week. You get an Aphra book with War of the Bounty Hunters #2. In the solicitation of War of the Bounty Hunters #2, it says that Boba Fett, the price on his head is high enough now that it's almost as high as Han Solo. Okay? So because of this, and I mean it says this is not a rumor, Boba Fett has to team up with Aphra. He needs her help. And so I wonder if in Aphra's book, if Fett's going to be in it.
Yeah, kind of, playing off this, since it's the same week,
Correct.
You're going to see how their stories
intertwine. Yeah, so we know that Aphra is going to be in War of the Bounty Hunters #2 because Fett seeks her out. It might be towards the end, and then maybe it gets continued. But I would also like to propose that if they're having it where Aphra and Fett know each other, and we know Boba Fett's getting his own TV show, we're all waiting for Dr. Aphra to appear in something.
Yep.
So now they're linked. Now they know each other. So this could be a big deal.
Yes. Yeah, I think this is... Aphra is primed for more. Everyone's been saying it since her first appearance. People have been like, this is gonna be something. So I think it's not out of the realm of possibility that a character like Aphra could appear in the Book of Boba Fett later this year.
Yeah. So I hope so, because if you saw my Aphra collection, you would gasp. Okay, so this is Carnage, Black, White, and Blood #4. This is the final issue of this bloody anthology written by several different people, several different writers and artists. It's been real fun. I like anthology books. They've done so many cool things. I remember in the first issue they had where Carnage was talking about what it would be like if he had a family,
Mhm.
like he had his Carnage wife and Carnage son. They had the choose your own adventure,
Mhm.
Carnage. You just never know what they're going to throw into these, which is great. And even though it's ending, it's okay because Extreme Carnage will have begun.
Yes.
So
Next up, this is X-Core number 3, or X-Corp, I think is actually this one because it's corporation.
right.
Number 3, this is the Del Mundo variant with, I love all the elements, like the weird sciencey stuff that's making up Multiple Man's costume and everything.
Yeah.
Which, in the current Hellfire Gala, Multiple Man is like the doorman and the waiter and everything because he's everywhere. But I'm interested in all the X books now that we have. Planet Size X-Men has come out. You know, they all have to reference what was revealed in that, and how are they each going to deal with their new home. Are they going to go there? Are they not? So keep an eye out on all the X books, and this is just a great Del Mundo cover.
Del Mundo has great ideas for covers.
Yeah.
Like he really does. He's one of these guys. He's already talented enough to draw them, but like his subject matter.
Yeah.
Because he did the Mystique photocopying her face all the different ways, and I'm always interested to see what he thinks up. All right, so this is Champions number 8. In this, there's a protest against Kamala's Law, the one where young superheroes are banned from superheroing. And the corporation Roxxon, who's kind of behind this, they use an app to lure the protesters into a trap, and it's up to the Champions to stop it. So this is one of 2 covers that I noticed this week that have like digital elements. They look like little app video game characters on it. So this is the A cover. And here is the Momoko anime cover.
Cool.
With, Sam Alexander.
Next up, this is Thor number 15, the Daniel variant. And this is one of the Spider-Man villain variants, which I really like. So a lot of times we get like the month of whatever. And then the character who's actually the book is about is not even on the cover.
Right.
We get that a lot. This is cool to see, like, how does the character in that book deal with a Spider-Man villain, or who do they put them up against? And I think this one is really, really cool, even though I don't give the Lizard much of a chance.
I know, that's what I was going to say. This cover is amazing, except the Lizard has no business trying to fight Thor in what looks like mid-air while lightning is coming down.
You know, maybe he's just trying to stall for someone else.
Yeah, maybe. So, okay, this is Way of X number 4. This is the Shavrin variant. This issue has something really interesting in the solicitation I'm interested to read. So, it has a few things going on, but the main reason I'm looking forward to this book is Professor X is supposed to actually battle Legion. Finally, it's Professor X versus Legion, but they say the battle happens in a boozed up tiki bar.
Oh, of course.
So my question is, are they boozed up? Is it just everyone around them? Is the bar itself on booze? Because when it comes to Legion, you don't know how things are going to go.
This is all inside one of their minds.
Correct. But Professor X versus Legion, like, it's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
Legion's really been pushing his buttons. And this is not the Professor X we used to know.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to reading this. And, of course, Nightcrawler, my man Nightcrawler, he's the leader of this book. I can't wait to see how he deals with that.
Yeah. Also, like a tiki bar sounds like a place when you're playing Street Fighter. That would be like one of the random backgrounds with like a guy like pouring drinks over and over or something. Yeah. So next up we have Batman the Detective number 4. So this is a 6-part series. This is number 4, and this is the Andy Kubert variant. Really cool. I love Batman's look in this series with the goggles and everything.
Yep, he's still trying to save his mentor Henri Descartes, and it's been a really good read. So this is Detective Comics 1039, the Bermejo variant. Just, every month I'm just waiting for that Bermejo variant on this to see what he does next, how cool it's going to be. Batman being like, I'm not just cool on the rooftops. The city can burn behind me. and
I don't even
just
care if
stand
my
there.
cape gets tattered.
Nope, he doesn't care. He's warming his buttocks and glutes. He's fine to be there. It's a great cover though. Really, just an epic cover with a lot of feeling to it.
I'm so excited about this cover. One
Yeah.
of the biggest rising stars in comics right now is Rose Besh, who's mostly been doing stuff at Marvel.
Yeah.
Uh, Now doing a DC. This is for Future State Gotham #3, and also excited because in my top favorite characters is Stephanie Brown, and seeing this awesome artist do the Future State version of Stephanie Brown, where she's got like the eye patch and everything, super cool. So I'm really excited about this one, and I mean people are going to be
This cover is going to fly off the
clamoring
shelf.
for
So,
this.
the latest Besh dropped this week. She
Mhm.
did the Miles Morales one. And with this one, she's going, see, it doesn't all have to be about the sneaker like the silk one. Like,
Yeah.
her style it's like she picks one thing that's sort of the focal point.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it, I'm sure it's not for everyone, but her style stands out.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of vibes, not in the style, but the early days when we were talking about Peach Momoko.
I
How
can
it's
see
like
that.
every week there's like one, and then we start hearing the name come up more and more often.
Yeah.
And this is hitting all those same bells for me. So.
I've been grabbing all her covers. I mean, so far there's not many of them, so it's kind of easy to keep up.
But they're all great.
And this is open order. Before, her covers were like 1 in 25 incentives. They were expensive, like that Silk #2. But you can grab this for cover price, just like the Miles Morales this week. So, oh, and I meant to mention, we were just going over the Detective Comics 1039, the cool one with Lee Bermejo. Batman. Batman finally fights Mr. Worth in that one. Finally. Yes, I've been waiting for it. It ended last episode, or issue they were about to fight. They finally have their battle. All right, so this is Challenge of the Super Sons. This is the other digital cover I was telling you about. So, Champions had theirs, where the characters were digital apps. In this one, apparently the Super Sons get turned digital. I'm not sure why. It probably has something to do with the Doom Scroll and their quest to stop characters from dying. So this is the A cover. This is the Simone DeMeo cover, which I can spot the DeMeo stuff.
Those colors, everything looks like it's glowing.
Yeah, and then we have the Nick Bradshaw variant. Just totally different.
Also very Bradshaw to just fill the page with things to look at.
Yep.
Really cool. Next up, this is for, this surprised me, this is actually for Justice League Last Ride #3 of 7, and this is the Federici variant, who's been doing those really nice incentive variants for all of DC, but seeing this, I'm like, oh, this surely is like a Detective Comics variant. It's not. This is for Justice League Last Ride, and his stuff looks good, colored, black and white, anything.
I have a theory on this cover too. Okay, so Batman's here. There are chains. Batman doesn't look chained up though, right?
Right.
The chains just look there. I think Lobo has escaped because the whole premise is them keeping Lobo locked up. Looks to me like he got away.
Yeah.
And that's not a spoiler because I'm allowed to guess just like you guys. So, also, is Lobo really going to stay chained up the whole series?
Yeah, is this the whole thing going to go off without a hitch? No.
That looks like Batman kneeling down going, oh, bleep.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, #2. This is the A cover. This has such an interesting style to it, just like the #1 did. And this is by, what was it, Bilquis?
Bilquis Evely.
Bilquis Evely, yeah. And then we have the B cover by Lee Weeks. This, of course, is the Supergirl series, been written by Tom King, so it's not going to be at all what you expect.
No, every issue you're going to be like, wait, this is not a Supergirl story I've ever read.
Yeah, so Andy, he read and sort of went over the issue 1 on our Tuesday show that you can go back and look at. He liked that very well. But yeah, if you like Tom King,
this is a very meaty read. This is one that you're going to have to take your time in reading and think about the dialogue and everything. Next up, this is Superman Red and Blue #5 of 6. So only a couple issues left. And they've been knocking out of the parks with these covers. So
Yeah.
this is the A cover. This is the Amanda Connor variant, or I guess not a variant. It's a regular cover.
Regular.
And then we have the
This
Art
one.
Adams variant, which is awesome. I love. I
that
mean,
looks
the
so good.
contrast of it and everything is so good.
Yeah, that one just, I mean, I can't wait to see it in person.
Yeah.
I think that's going to look even better, like, on the shelf or in our hands.
Yeah.
So this is one you might want to ask for because, you know, when you're this far in a series, retailers are not ordering a ton of the variants. Okay, this is Wonder Woman number 775. This is the A cover. It does have a B cover that wasn't ready for the show. They don't have it prepared in time, so I don't know what it looks like. But this A cover is very interesting. Now, Wonder Woman, she's not with the Justice League anymore. She has transcended. She was in Asgard lately, and that has wrapped up. Well, where is she now? The solicitation says she is in the graveyard of the gods.
I just that strikes all of my nerdy, like, weird fantasy things of like, oh, what's there? What all weird things are buried there?
I don't know what they're doing with Wonder Woman other than it's like she's too big for the DC universe now, and she's just doing her own things that are just these huge god adventures.
Yeah,
which I think is really, really interesting.
and you see like what she's wearing, like that's not her normal suit, but it's also not her Norse mythology suit. So she's doing it on a different plane of existence, all of her adventures now, which I think is about time. It's really cool. So I'm been so excited about this series. This is Skybound X. This is number 2 of this this short series that's celebrating the 10 years of Skybound. So this has the story in each of them of Rick Grimes 2000, the just crazy off the wall kind of what if story of Walking Dead, but Rick Grimes has a lightsaber and he's versus aliens and cyborgs and everything. I believe at the top that's the governor, but he's like a weird zombie cyborg Darth Vader type character. This is clearly an homage to like a classic Star Wars poster. But things noteworthy about this one. So this is the A cover. This is by Cliff Rathburn, who has worked with Robert Kirkman on a ton of stuff. The B cover is the Bresson variant, which it kind of, these covers reflect the interiors. So there is that Rick Grimes 2000 story. There's going to be a new story in the Birthright universe, another big Skybound book.
Right.
And then we have this, which is the first appearance, first story in this universe. And this character on here who's kind of leading it is Everyday Hero Machine Boy. Which, I mean, who knows? These could definitely spin off into their own series. I think that's almost what this is primed for.
Certainly manga inspired and so different than the other two covers that we just seen. So different, you know, because there's multiple stories in this.
Yeah. The other story that's in this is in the Stillwater universe. And it says the first appearance of a big character for that story. So
we got 2 first appearances. We have Everyday Hero Machine Boy, who we see here. And then
a new character in Stillwater. They don't say who it is, but I mean, saying it's a big character feels like this is almost a must read if you're reading Stillwater. So
one last thing, we were talking about this earlier, is Kirkman just out of the blue announced, well, I guess Skybound did, or he did, that these are not going to be collected.
Yes.
They're only coming out in individual issues. So, you know.
Yeah, and it's specific to like, they're not only are they not doing like a Skybound X trade paperback or whatever, these stories are not going to be reprinted in, like, you know, the Stillwater's not going to be in the Stillwater trades or anything like that. So this is your chance to read these stories.
Yep, that is a very big deal. So next up we have Berserker number 4. This is the A cover by Raphael Grandpa. There is also a foil version available of this. They keep doing the foil versions of the A's and B covers. The foil version typically just costs $1 more. So if you want that, make sure to ask your shop, because when there's all these variants, it's hard for us shop owners to know how many to get of each. without getting too many, and then we're just sort of money out of pocket. So this is the final issue of his origin story. So this is a 12-issue series. It's only issue 4. They've been kind of going back to on his origin. Will this finally reveal in his origin why he is immortal or not? That's sort of the question the solicitation asks. Here is the B cover, the Ward B variant. This also has a foil version that you can ask for as well.
Yeah, just imagine those, but shinier.
Yep.
Next up, we have the this is actually the A cover for Eve number 3. I think it's interesting that we've got some new characters on the cover because she's been pretty much by herself and her bear. And you see in the background one of those creepy things in the city. But this is the Anindito cover.
Yep.
So I think it looks really interesting. It's almost giving me vibes of We Live, you know, with the kid adventure stories and stuff. So
also available for order this week is Bunny Mask number 2. This was a surprise hit.
Yeah.
I thought it looked cool, so I upped our order, and I was worried I upped it too much. We sold out immediately.
Yeah.
So this has struck a chord with people. Hopefully number 2 will as well. I like the coloring on the cover.
Yeah.
It's just the atmosphere has an interesting sort of promise to the viewer about what you're going to read in this. So you might want to ask your store, make sure to get your copy nailed down.
Yeah, issue 1 was crazy, but in a good way. Of like, whoa, you set up a lot of stuff. I really want to see how this pays off. Next up, we have issue 2 of Everfrost. Another book I don't think a lot of stores got, but a very interesting kind of sci-fi book. Takes place on kind of your frozen planet, kind of Hoth-esque. Really, really cool. Definitely for kind of hardcore sci-fi fans. A lot of techno stuff and aliens and everything. So really cool.
All right, so our orders are due for White number 2 from Black Mass Studios. This is the follow-up to the hit series Black, which is.
I hope everyone enjoyed number 1 of White.
Yeah, right. I have some news. Where is your White number 1? All right. Well, first off, they limited it to a small print run. I think it was like maybe 2,500. I don't know why they did this. I mean, we said it back when we solicited this to begin with. We're like, why are they limiting?
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to have tons of customers who want this. The book has been pushed back. Currently, they are saying it is going to be out June 30th. That is White number 1. So if you're wondering where your copy is, A, it's not out anywhere yet. It's not going to be out till June 30th.
You didn't miss
it. All stores might be allocated. So if you ask for it, hopefully you'll get it. Number 2, they've also announced, is only going to have a print run of 2,500. This is supposed to come out July 14th. So just 2 weeks after number 1, which got pushed back so much. I have a feeling this is going to get pushed back.
Yeah.
But we're going to go ahead and let you know about it. If you order from us, you probably want to order soon. That way, if we only get 3 copies, you're one of the first 3 people who ask, you'll get yours. So good luck with this. I have to say, if they keep pushing this book back and having problems, I don't know if we're going to keep putting it on the show. Because I hate putting things on that people get excited about, and then it gets delayed. It gets, I'd rather do it when we're sure that people will be able to lay their hands on it, anytime in the future. But otherwise, I wish well for the series. Black was a really cool series, very cool idea. I'm looking forward to this myself personally.
Next up, we have Space Pirate Captain Harlock number 2. Number 1 dropped this week. I read it. Really, really cool. Based on that very classic, very popular manga and anime series of the same name. This is a whole new story set within that universe, that time frame. But this time from Blaze Comics for kind of our American Western audiences in more traditional format. And this is really cool because this is the A cover, but this is America Andolfo cover.
Yeah.
So really cool to see these different artists' takes on this character. And I highly recommend the first one, and I'm sure number 2 is going to be really cool too.
With the rise of manga and with younger people loving manga, what I'm seeing is, as new artists hit the scene, obviously they grew up in a different era, and a lot of them have been inspired by manga. So a lot of these new artists jump at the chance to do anything manga inspired now. So I think we're going to see more and more of that.
Yeah.
All right. Also available this week for order is Neil Gaiman's Norse Mythology #2. This is the beautiful David Mack variant cover for it. He did a great variant for #1. So if you want to just get that David Mack goodness, here's your chance to order the #2 variant.
Next up, this is for Dynamite Lives. This is #2. Issue 1 just dropped recently. And I think we were kind of all surprised when we found out that Ash is in this from Evil Dead and Army of Darkness fame. And so this is the B cover, the Sudium cover. And then we have the D cover here. This is the Acosta variant with one of his classic lines.
Yelling, "Primitive screwheads!" from Army of Darkness. So I actually put these in there. I'm a big fan of Army of Darkness, Evil Dead. If Ash is in it, I was like, I gotta let
TV show was
know.
great. Yeah. So good.
Yeah. So, okay. Next up, we have the Invincible Red Sonja #3. This is the Cho cover. These covers where Sonja's been saying funny, snarky things have been doing really well. So we want people to know there's another one, so you don't have to go searching high and low. You can order it right now. With this, of course, she is quoting Scarface. Say hello to my little friend. Probably about to lop a head off.
Next up, we have Vampirella versus Purgatory. And this is #5, the Broxton E cover E. That is kind of an homage to classic D&D manuals.
Yep, that's what I thought too.
Everybody loves his classic homages.
I know. So this is 6 sidekicks of Trigger Keaton. This is just the A cover for #2. So if you enjoyed the first one, where the sidekicks have to come together to try to figure out who murdered Trigger Keaton, this is your chance to tell your store, sign me up, so that they order enough that you can get it.
Next up is, of course, this is HaHa #6 of 6. This is the final issue of HaHa, and this is the B cover, the Morazzo and O'Halloran. It's 2 people that worked on it. But of course, this is one of their now classic Dr. Seuss homage covers.
Don't leave this sitting around where actual little kids are going to find it, please.
Yeah, there's not fun rhyming.
Don't leave it in your local doctor office on the table.
No. And then we have the C cover, which is the level cover.
All right, so Secret Land #2 is available this week for order. So if you like #1, here's your chance to order issue #2. A lot of foliage on this cover.
Next we have A Man Among Ye #5. This is the C cover. And this was a mini-series from, about 2 years ago now?
Yeah, it feels that way.
Yeah, I mean, hard to tell the time anymore. But it's back. It was really popular around here, and super cool C cover by Cermak.
Follows the exploits of Anne Bonny, who really was a female pirate.
Yeah,
so
I'm sure she looked just like that.
and drew skull and crossbones in blood, just like that. That's historically accurate. Okay, so DC Horror presents The Conjuring: The Lover #1 has gone back to second print. So for those of you who missed it, or you want to get everything to do with The Conjuring, here is your chance to order that.
I feel like this was really under-ordered and then sold out really fast because this came out before the movie came out.
Right.
Movie came out, people go, oh, I that's now on my mind. This character on the cover is in the movie. Yep. Stores probably under-ordered it, and then the people who saw the movie and were excited bought the rest of them up. So I'm glad it's going to second printing.
And we, us two and Megan, we all saw the movie, and it's good.
Yeah, and the comic is really, really cool too. Very much in the spirit of the movies. Next up is really exciting. This is coming out in a collected format. This is Star Wars High Republic Volume 1, There Is No Fear. So this collects the first story arc of High Republic. So if you've been waiting to read it, or you missed out on one of the billion printings of number one, or you're just waiting to read it as a whole, this is finally out. I'm excited to read it all again in one big story.
And I guarantee Andy will.
I will.
Okay, so this is Gotham City Monsters. It is a $17.99 trade paperback. I think this series was released a few years back.
Yeah, I feel like maybe the last few issues got interrupted by pandemic.
So you know, Shade, the agency of monsters, is no more. Frankenstein is going after his old mentor, Melmoth, who is one of the last evil monsters he has to capture. He teams up with a bunch of people. He has to build his team in this too. It's Killer Croc, Lady Clayface, who we've seen lately, actually, in Detective Comics. It is Orca, the vampire Andrew Bennett, and this new creature called the Red Phantom. So he has to pull them together to go after this. If you like monster stuff set in Gotham, it's for you.
DC's version of Frankenstein is one of my favorite comic book characters. He's like a poet. He carries a giant sword. He's such a cool character.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Wonder Woman 80 Years of Amazon Warrior. This is the deluxe edition for $29.99. So these collect kind of your some key moments and key covers, key issues in the history of Wonder Woman. So it usually has like, you know, some of her first appearance, kind of through her 80 years of history collected in one edition.
It looks like she's swinging her rope, like she's about to wrangle some steers.
Yeah, she's gonna lasso someone.
All right, so this is Deathstroke by Christopher Priest, the Omnibus. This is a hardcover. I'll just get the hard part out of the way. It's $150. But, you know, it's one of those hardcovers that you can, like, knock somebody out with.
Yeah, Deathstroke would approve of that.
Correct. That's how he would use it. So this collects Deathstroke Rebirth issue 0 through 50, and 7 other appearances he made in other comics along the way.
Yeah, he had some crossovers like Teen Titans and stuff along the way.
So 58 issues at least in this hardcover for $150.
Next up, this is cool. This is actually a reprinting of something that was out before, but very hard to get. This is Fourth World by Jack Kirby, Omnibus, hardcover. This is also $150, but we had someone in the store, I believe just yesterday or Monday, who was being like, where can I get all of this classic Jack Kirby stuff? And it's like, it's actually pretty hard to track down, especially the early stuff. One, because it's a lot of first appearances, but it's hard to find it in order, all of that. So this is super cool. I think everyone should read some of the Jack Kirby Fourth World. You don't have to read the whole thing. Just read some of it because it is crazy. The art is incredible. But I'm excited this is coming back in print.
All right, so here's an original graphic novel. It is called Miss, and the subtitle to it is Better Living Through Crime. It follows what they say is an unlikely duo who are committing crimes in the 1920s. So I like my crime books. I like my period piece sort of crime books. It has a foreword by Ed Brubaker. I mean, how can you get a better stamp of approval on
for
a
anything
crime book?
Yeah.
So this is $22.99. I don't know what's up with the odd price of $22. I'm guessing it's kind of big, and they wanted to keep it under $25. So
next up, we have Snowpiercer, the prequel, Volume 1, Extinction. So a lot of people jumped on Snowpiercer with the TV show, now going back to read the comic. This was the all-new story just from a few years ago, but it's collected here of the kind of prequel to how everything happened. It's weird to see green and everything on a Snowpiercer thing. So if you want to know how it all started, right here.
I like Snowpiercer. That movie, man, I liked it so much because it was so different. I think I watched it like twice in 2 days the first time I saw it. So.
And this is $16.99.
All right, so here we have the philosophy of Venom. That's right. We've all been going through the world blind, not knowing how to act, not knowing what to do in moral situations. Well, now we finally have a guide.
Who would ask Venom? You see him on the street and go, I just need some direction in life. What do you say?
So this is a hardcover book. You can tell it's more like square-shaped. It's $14.99. It's actually released by Titan, not Marvel. And it claims that it's going to show you some of the most heroic, villainous, and killer moments from the Venom series over the years that'll show you what to do in life. So I'm interested to
Probably
thumb through
not
this.
recommended by psychiatrists.
Yeah, once
as,
again, don't leave this one at the pediatrician's office for little kids to find.
Next up, we have Sweet Tooth: The Return, the trade paperback for the recent series that just ended. It's a very interesting how they put it. It is a retelling of Sweet Tooth, which
Right.
used to I'd have to go into a long explanation of what Sweet Tooth is, but now it is the #1 show on Netflix, which is insane for this Jeff Lemire written and drawn Vertigo book from back in the day. Is now mainstream term
I know.
with Sweet Tooth.
Who would have ever thought?
But he did just recently do this series that I feel like a lot of people missed out on.
It came out so before the show that
Yeah. So I've read this. It is interesting because it is a retelling, but maybe a sequel. It is very. It's hard to put down like when this takes place because we have our character Gus, and a lot of the elements of the story are similar, but the story goes in different directions than what we're used to. So highly recommended if you read the original. They've got a really nice omnibus out of the entire Sweet Tooth series, and I recommend reading this one following up because it is a very interesting way of doing another story in this universe. And this is only $17.99 for the full series.
This is also the type of thing it's great to make as a present for someone who doesn't read comics. I love gifting people who watch all the comic stuff but won't pick up a comic. This is the sort of thing I give them.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, they're reading and they're looking into all their favorite things, but where did it all come from?
Yeah, and I even think if you've only watched season 1 of Sweet Tooth, you could read this too, and it wouldn't spoil anything because it is kind of an alternate take on the story. So just more for the fan of Sweet Tooth.
Okay, so the last thing we're going to tell you about is the other week there was a Marvel book that came out called Web of Spider-Man #1, which had to do with a theme park ride in Disneyland. But more important than that, it was the first appearance of Harvey Keener in comics. He was the kid from Iron Man 3, who was from our hometown of Chattanooga. Didn't necessarily...
The weird fictional alternate reality version of Chattanooga that resembles nothing of our city.
So this comic is scarce. It just wasn't ordered very much. I mean, we had very few people who pre-ordered. Our copies dried up right away. Anyway, so Web of Spider-Man #1, first appearance of Harvey Keener, first appearance of this group called Brigade, has a second print that is available for order this week. The cover's by Girahiru. There is not a cover for it yet. So instead of just showing you a screen saying that, I thought I'd just say it at the end of the show. So if you want Web of Spider-Man #1 second print, tell your store. Hopefully some of you out there were your store.
Yeah.
If not, thank you for watching anyway. That ends this week's Comics from the Future. Thank you for joining us. You have until Sunday with us to tell us what DC books you want. You have until the end of Monday to tell us what books you want from Marvel and all the other independent publishers out there. Join us again this Tuesday where Andy and I will do our spoiler-free reviews of all the books that are dropping that week.
Yeah.
And then next Friday, we'll be back with Megan again, as usual. So until then, have a great week and go read some awesome comics.